about the relationship of decision-making between the Sand District and the city of Ukiah, how that works. I mean, there's probably a historical relationship, but what is it legally? What are we?
Yeah, there's a First Amendment to the agreement that does require the Sand District and the city to both approve the budget for the sewer system. So they do have approval authority over the budget, which was approved for this current fiscal year. And they'll have that same authority in the next fiscal year. So if we were proposing to change the budget, I think they would have, for this year that's been approved, I think they would have some right to review that change. And you know, I actually looked at the budget today because I was curious, and on staff salaries, they don't list the salaries for each. The budget doesn't itemize salaries for individual positions. It has a total amount for salaries and so on. So if they were proposing to change that figure in the budget, then I think the Sand District would have a contractual right to, to approve that. They don't have any right, in my opinion, right under the contract to approve how the city manages its own workforce. It's the city's contractually obligated to operate and maintain the system for the benefit of the city and the district, but the agreement doesn't give the sanitation district any authority over how the city hires and organizes its workforce.
Thank you.
Further council questions or discussion? Councilmember Rhoden.
Yeah, this is in response to one of the members of the public, and maybe it goes to the city manager. How did the city arrive at the salary ranges that are proposed in these job descriptions?
It was both looking at other agencies, working with personnel department, internal equity as well as external equity. And so that, it was many different factors that we used to figure these salaries out.
And we are, just to clarify to the public and myself, that we are proposing salary increases because we are proposing to increase responsibilities.
That's right, and that's what the new job descriptions are showing.
Yeah, and
City manager.
I do recognize and I'm extremely sensitive to the comments about what is going on, and we are working diligently to present to the council in the very near future where we think we stand for this year, as well as beginning the process for next year. So we're not just quietly sitting by and watching the world go by on that. And I recognize that it's difficult, but part of the challenge for us in Ukiah is going to be to have the right basic structure for the delivery of those services that the council wants us to deliver. And we will have lots of opportunity to talk about that. I simply view these job description changes are a part of what we need for the basic management of the Public Works Department now that we've combined it. And that really has nothing to do with maybe the level of service or what we're going to ultimately wind up delivering with regard to what resources we have to do that with. So we may make lots of changes. And I recognize that it looks strange for us to be moving people around, but we did have to adjust ourselves once this department was incorporated into Public Works in order to meet all the demands that we have to meet to have water and sewer addressed properly.
Councilmember Landis.
No, that's a mistake.
Councilmember Thomas.
In prior discussions, it's been my sense that not only is this a change arising out of necessity, it's also a change that in and of itself has a considerable logic of its own as far as organization goes and allocation of responsibilities. And if Mr. Erickson would like to comment on that.
Well, yeah, and I agree. I mean, I agree completely that is what brought this about. So,
Councilmember Rhoden.
Well, I've been thinking of an analogy for this, and if it squares with what you think, then I would like to move the recommended action, that sort of like we're building a house, which is creating the reorganization. And when we're talking about the budget for next year and what kind of cuts we have to make, that has to do with sort of how big the house is going to be and how many bedrooms. And we're not making a commitment to how big the house is going to be. But we do need to have electric serve the house, and we have to have water serve the house. We have to have certain basic amenities for any house, a front door and whatever. And so I view these changes as the kind of fundamental basic things that we need in order to operate this new department. And what we do next year has to do with how extensive, we want to make the services in the future, but that this is what we have to do. But not only that, it sounds like, from reading the ASR, that there are customer service benefits in addition. So we're making things more helpful for serving the public. So anyway, I move the recommended action.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Just for the public's awareness, ASR stands for Agenda Summary Report. Is there further discussion?
I just have a clarifying question. This decision is meaning that through 2009, this structure will be in place with the budgetary impacts that really, there will be no budgetary impacts, basically, because some vacancies that
That's
previously
correct.
existed. And through June, okay. And at that point, a new budget will be created to determine how much is spent in the coming year.
That's correct.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, roll call vote.
Councilmember Landis.
Yes.
Thomas.
Aye.
Crane.
Abstain.
Roden.
Yes?
Mayor Baldwin.
Yes. Question for the county council.
Or
About
city
an
attorney.
I'm-
You just promoted me, I think.
Well,
Another job description, salary.
the city attorney, regarding abstentions, is that a legitimate
Yes.
vote of a council member?
I actually know the answer to that question. I'm so relieved.
Even the
It
ethnicity.
used to be the rule that you could not abstain. If you abstained, your abstention was counted as a vote in favor of the motion. The city council actually decided that they didn't like that rule, and they purposely set about changing it. And in your resolution that sets out the rules of procedure for the city council, it specifically says that each council member has the right to abstain, and the abstention will not be counted as a vote.
And without explanation?
Well, I mean, why did they decide they want, there was a discussion at the time about.
No, I'm saying that the abstention,
Oh,
it doesn't
they don't need,
require an
no, you don't need
explanation.
to explain why you're abstaining. You can just abstain.
Okay. The motion passes. We're going to move on to the next item. New business. Discussion of possible action regarding council, board, committee, and commission appointments. Before Mayor Crane took over, these were handed out by fiat by the mayor, and I certainly am not, I don't think Doug Crane mandated appointments, and I don't want to mandate appointments. On the other hand, I hope we can handle this without a great deal without too much protracted discussion. I have given you each a suggestion. Most of them keep the people who are currently in positions in their current positions.